What if I told you there is a hidden code in the very first verses of the Bible? A sequence so powerful that God Himself used it to create the entire universe, and that this same code is the key to creating unlimited wealth in your life. Most people read the creation story as a beautiful myth. They are wrong. It is an architectural blueprint, a spiritual technology of 4 steps to transform chaos into order, lack into abundance, potential into reality. And you are violating this law every single day without knowing it. Before we go any further, pause. Answer this in the comments right now. What is the one area of your life where you are working the hardest but seeing the least results? Your business, your finances, your career? Be specific. Naming the chaos is the first step to creating order. And if you are ready to master the true principles of biblical wealth, subscribe to this channel now. We are building a community of people who understand the real principles of prosperity according to the sacred scriptures. Now let me show you what is really happening in your financial life. You wake up every morning, you work hard, you hustle, you grind. But at the end of the month, your bank account looks the same as it did 6 months ago. Maybe worse. You tell yourself you need to work harder, find more clients, launch another project. But deep down, you know something else is true. You are not lazy. You are not incapable. You are living in a state that the ancient scriptures call formless disorder. And formless disorder is the natural state of everything before creation begins. Here is what most people do not understand. The problem is not that you have chaos. The problem is that you are treating chaos like it is your enemy, when chaos is actually raw material. Think about a block of marble before the sculptor arrives. Is it empty? No. It contains Michelangelo's David. It contains Moses. It contains masterpieces. But in its current state, it is functionally useless. It is just a heavy stone. That is your financial life right now. A block of marble filled with the potential for a masterpiece. But you are treating it like a worthless rock. You are drowning in your own unused potential. When you look at your finances, what do you see? Do you see order? Do you see a system? Or do you see money coming in and disappearing before you can even track where it went? Do you see expenses you cannot explain? Subscriptions you forgot about? Clients who pay late or not at all? Projects that take twice as long as they should and pay half as much as you need? That is formless disorder, raw potential without structure, energy without direction, and the solution is not to work more. The solution is divine architecture. Most people hear this and they think they need to get up earlier, sleep less, hustle harder, take on more clients, launch more products. But that is like taking that block of marble and hitting it with a hammer in random places, hoping a statue will appear. It will not. You will just shatter the marble, you will exhaust yourself, and in 5 years you will be in the exact same place, only more tired and more bitter. Let me ask you a direct question. Do you know how the Creator brought order to the universe? Do you know the exact method used to turn chaos into galaxies, oceans, and life itself? Because that method is written down. It is not hidden. It is not a secret reserved for mystics or scholars. It is available to you right now. And the same process that created the cosmos can create financial order in your life. But you have to stop doing what you are doing. You have to stop treating your money like it is something that just happens to you. You have to stop letting clients, expenses, and opportunities come and go without definition. You have to stop living in vague hope that things will get better someday. Because they will not. Not without a method, not without law, not without creation. Here is the truth. You are not a victim of your financial situation. You are the architect. The chaos you are living in right now is your raw material, and the blueprint you need to shape that material into prosperity already exists. It has existed for thousands of years. It is the exact process described in the opening of Scripture. 4 steps, 4 movements, 4 acts of divine power that brought light, land, life, and blessing into existence. And you are going to learn all 4 of them in this message. But before I give you the blueprint, I need you to understand something critical. This is not a metaphor, this is not poetry, this is not a nice spiritual idea that you think about and then forget. This is law. This is how reality operates. If you use this method, you will see results. If you ignore this method, you will continue to live in disorder no matter how hard you work. The question is not whether this works. The question is whether you are willing to obey it. In the beginning, before anything existed, there was formless void and darkness over the deep. But hidden inside that void was everything. Oceans, mountains, stars, forests, human beings. It was all there. It just had no shape yet, no boundaries, no definition, no purpose. Your financial life is the same right now. You have everything you need inside that chaos. Talent, energy, intelligence, opportunity, but it has no structure, and without structure, all that potential becomes a prison. You are drowning in your own power. Here is what happens. When you live in formless disorder, you start to believe the problem is you. You start to think you are not smart enough, not disciplined enough, not lucky enough. And that belief becomes a voice in your head, a voice that says, do not be too specific about what you want, because if you fail, it will hurt more. Do not cut anything out of your life, because you might need it later. Do not separate the good from the bad, because what if you choose wrong? That voice is not protecting you. That voice is keeping you in the dark, because in darkness nothing can be measured. In darkness nothing can be built. In darkness you can stay comfortable in your failure because you never have to confront it directly. But light exposes, light reveals. And light is the first thing the Creator spoke into existence. I am going to teach you how to do the same thing. I am going to teach you how to speak order into your financial chaos, how to separate what serves you from what drains you, how to name your money with purpose, and how to infuse everything you do with divine intention. But I need you to understand the cost. This method requires precision. It requires honesty. It requires you to look at your financial life without excuses and without blame. It requires you to make decisions that feel risky, to let go of things that feel safe, to trust a process that you cannot see the end of yet. Most people are not willing to pay that cost. They would rather stay in chaos because chaos is familiar. Chaos does not demand anything from them. Chaos lets them stay a victim. But you are not most people. If you were, you would not still be here. So let me give you the first piece of the blueprint. The first act of creation. The first movement that transforms void into reality. It is called the decree, the spoken word, the creative declaration. The moment when the Creator said, "Let there be light," and light came into existence. Not because light was invented in that moment. Light already existed as potential, but it had no form. It had no boundary. It had no purpose. The decree gave it all three. You need to do the same thing with your finances. You need to speak your financial creation into existence, not with vague wishes, not with hopeful thoughts, not with vision boards or affirmations that make you feel good for 5 minutes and then fade away. You need to make a decree, a specific, measurable, undeniable statement of what you are creating. Here is what most people do. They say, I want to make more money, or I want to be financially free, or I want to feel abundant. And they think that is enough. It is not. That is not a decree. That is a wish. Wishes evaporate. Decrees anchor reality. A decree has a number. A decree has a timeline. A decree has clarity. And clarity is the enemy of chaos. But here is what will happen the moment you write that decree. Fear will rise up. You will think, what if I do not hit that number? What if I fail publicly? What if I wrote it down and nothing changes? And that fear is the exact reason most people never write the decree. They would rather stay in chaos where failure is invisible than step into order where failure can be measured. But failure in chaos is guaranteed. Failure in order is temporary. Because in order you can see what went wrong and correct it. In chaos, you just keep repeating the same mistakes forever. So you write the decree anyway. You make it specific. You make it measurable. You make it undeniable. Now comes the second step, separation. This is where most people fail, because separation requires courage. Separation requires loss. Separation requires you to look at your financial life and divide it into two categories: what brings order and what brings disorder, what serves your creation, and what sabotages it. Let me tell you a story. 3 years ago, I had a business partnership that brought in 40% of my income. 40%, almost half. I remember waking up at 3 in the morning with my stomach in knots, checking emails compulsively, knowing that another meeting would be cancelled at the last minute, another payment delayed, another decision reversed without warning. I spent hours every single week managing the chaos that this partnership created, fueled by anxiety and cheap coffee, but I was terrified to end it, because 40% of my income. If I cut that off, what would happen? So I stayed, month after month, tolerating disorder because I was afraid of financial loss, until one day I realized something. That partnership was not 40% of my income. It was 100% of my stress. It was the reason I could not focus on anything else. I could not build anything new. It was a black hole that sucked energy out of everything good in my life, so I made a decision. I performed an act of separation. I ended the partnership. And yes, my income dropped. For 2 months, I lost that 40%. It was terrifying. But something else happened. With that chaos removed, I had clarity, I had energy, I had time. And within 4 months, I had replaced that income entirely. Within 8 months, I had doubled it. That is what separation does. It creates space for new growth, but it requires you to trust the process more than you trust your fear. Now let me be clear about what separation actually means in your financial life. It does not mean cutting everything that feels hard. It does not mean avoiding risk. It means identifying what is genuinely chaotic and removing it with precision. Because chaos disguises itself as opportunity. Chaos says, this might work out. Chaos says, I cannot afford to lose this. Chaos keeps you paralyzed while draining your resources. You need to audit your financial life and ask one simple question about every source of income, every expense, every client, every project. Does this bring order or disorder? Order means predictable. Order means it operates according to a system. Order means you know what to expect and when to expect it. Disorder means unpredictable. Disorder means it breaks its own rules. Disorder means you are constantly managing exceptions and emergencies. And here is the test. If you removed this thing from your life, would you feel relief or panic? If the honest answer is relief, that is disorder. And disorder must be separated from order, no matter how much money it brings in, because disorder always costs more than it pays. This is the law of separation, the same law the Creator used when he divided light from darkness, not because darkness was evil, but because light and darkness cannot create anything when mixed together. They must be separated, defined, given boundaries. Only then can they serve their purpose. Your finances are the same. You have light mixed with darkness right now. Revenue that serves you mixed with revenue that destroys you. Expenses that build mixed with expenses that waste. Clients who honor you mixed with clients who abuse you. And until you separate them, you will stay in chaos. But separation is not the end. Separation creates space, clean space, ordered space. Now you have to fill that space with definition. And that brings us to the third step of creation, naming. The mandate of dominion. In the scriptures, after the Creator separated light from darkness, the next act was naming. Light was called day. Darkness was called night. The expanse was called sky. The dry ground was called land. The gathered waters were called seas. Every element of creation was given a name. And the moment something receives a name, it receives identity. It receives purpose. It receives boundaries. Your money needs the same thing. Right now, your money has no name. It is just a number in an account. Money comes in, money goes out, and you have no relationship with it beyond anxiety. You do not know what any dollar is for. You do not know where it is supposed to go. You do not know what it is meant to accomplish. So it drifts. It evaporates. It gets consumed by whatever feels urgent in the moment. But when you name your money, everything changes. Because a name creates accountability. A name creates clarity. A name creates power. Here is what I mean. You do not have a bank account. You have unnamed numbers sitting in a generic container. But what if you renamed that account? What if you called it the Fortress of Provision? What if every time you logged in, you saw that name and you remembered that this is not just money, this is the foundation of security for your family. This is the resource that allows you to serve, to create, to build. Do you think you would spend it the same way? Do you think you would let it leak out on things that do not matter? No, because the name reminds you of its purpose. Or take your business income. Right now, you probably think of it as revenue, generic, vague. But what if you named it the river of divine flow? What if every payment you received, you saw it not as a transaction, but as evidence that you are aligned with purpose, that your work matters, that you are fulfilling the mission you were created for? Would you treat that money carelessly? Would you waste it on distractions? Would you let clients who disrespect that flow continue to participate in it? No, because the name elevates it from transaction to sacred trust. This is not symbolic. This is structural. When you name something, you give it essence. And essence determines behavior. Let me show you how this works in practice. Think about your expenses right now. You probably have categories: food, transportation, entertainment, utilities. These are functional labels, but they have no power. They do not inspire discipline. They do not create meaning. But what if you renamed them? What if food became fuel for the mission? What if transportation became mobility for impact? What if entertainment became restoration of strength? Suddenly, every expense is not just a cost. It is an investment in something purposeful. And when you are about to spend money, you ask yourself, is this actually fueling the mission? Or is this just wasting resources? That question changes everything. Think about that block of marble again. Before the sculptor names it, before he decides this will be David and not Moses, it is just potential. But the moment he names it, the moment he commits to the vision, every strike of the chisel has direction. Every chip removed serves the final form. Without the name, the sculptor is just hitting rock randomly. With the name, he is creating a masterpiece. Your financial life is that marble, and you have been hitting it randomly, hoping something beautiful will appear. It will not until you name what you are creating. But here is what happens when you start naming your money. Resistance appears, because the voice that wants you to stay in chaos will tell you this is childish. It will tell you this is unnecessary. It will tell you that names do not matter, only numbers matter. And that voice is lying, because names are how the Creator organized reality. Names are how order is maintained. Names are how power is focused. If you refuse to name your money, you are refusing to take authority over it. And if you do not take authority, chaos will. Now the fourth step, the final movement of creation, the daily infusion. Blessing. In Scripture, after everything was created and named, the Creator blessed it. He blessed the living creatures. He blessed humanity. He blessed the seventh day. And that blessing was not a wish. It was not hope. It was the infusion of divine purpose and power into what had been made. Blessing is what transforms existence into destiny. Your money needs blessing. Not because it is magical, not because words have mystical vibration, but because blessing is the act of declaring purpose over what you have been given. Blessing is the moment you stop seeing money as neutral and start seeing it as a tool of creation that you have been entrusted with. Most people curse their money without realizing it. They look at their bank account and say, it is never enough. They receive payment and immediately think, this will not last. They spend money and feel guilty. They save money and feel anxious. Every interaction with money is laced with fear, scarcity, and mistrust. And that curse becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But blessing reverses it. Blessing says, I have been given this resource for a purpose. Blessing says, this money is a tool of provision, creation, and impact. Blessing says, I do not hoard this in fear, and I do not waste this in chaos. I use this with intention and gratitude. Here is a simple practice. Every morning, before you check your phone, before you look at your email, before you do anything else, speak a blessing over your financial life. Out loud, not in your head. Out loud. Because spoken words create reality in a way that thoughts do not. The blessing can be simple. Creator of all provision, I acknowledge that everything I have is a gift and a responsibility. Today I will steward what I have been given with wisdom, clarity, and purpose. I will not hoard in fear. I will not waste in chaos. I will use everything with intention. That is it, 30 seconds. But those 30 seconds recalibrate your entire relationship with money for the day. You are no longer approaching your finances from fear or desperation. You are approaching them from gratitude and authority. And then every time you receive money throughout the day, pause for 2 seconds and say, I receive this with gratitude. I will use this with intention. Every payment, every sale, every refund, every unexpected gift. Acknowledge it. Bless it. Commit to stewarding it well. This practice will feel awkward. You will forget to do it. You will skip days. You will think it does not matter. But I promise you, if you maintain this practice for 30 days, your entire emotional posture toward money will transform. You will stop seeing it as something that controls you and start seeing it as something you have been entrusted to manage. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds too simple. This sounds like it cannot possibly work. Numbers are numbers. Spreadsheets are spreadsheets. How is renaming accounts and speaking blessings going to change my financial reality? And that is exactly the voice I warned you about. The voice that wants you to stay in chaos. The voice that mocks precision. The voice that dismisses discipline as unnecessary. That voice does not want you to succeed. That voice wants you to stay stuck. Because if you stay stuck, it stays in control. But here is what that voice does not want you to know. Every person who has ever built lasting wealth did so through order. Not luck, not hustle, not shortcuts, order. They knew what they were creating. They separated what served them from what drained them. They named their assets with purpose. They treated their resources as sacred trust, not random windfall. And you can do the same thing. You have the same blueprint. You have the same authority. The only question is whether you will use it. Because here is the reality. You can watch this entire message, you can nod along, you can agree with everything I am saying, and then you can close this video and go back to exactly what you were doing before. You can go back to chaos. You can go back to vague wishes and unnamed accounts and financial anxiety. And nothing will change. In 5 years, you will be exactly where you are now, maybe worse. Or you can make a different choice. You can take what you have learned here and apply it immediately. You can write your decree today. You can identify one source of chaos and separate from it this week. You can rename your accounts tomorrow. You can speak your first blessing in the next 60 seconds. And if you do that, something will shift. Not because of magic, not because of manifestation, but because you will have aligned yourself with the law of creation. You will have stopped being a victim and started being an architect. You will have taken the raw material of your life and begun to shape it with divine precision. But it requires action. It requires discipline. It requires you to overcome the voice that says, "This will not work." Now, everything I have taught you so far is the foundation. The 4 steps of creation: decree, separation, naming, blessing. These are the movements that brought the universe into existence. And these are the movements that will bring order to your financial life. But principles without practice are just philosophy. And philosophy does not pay bills. So I'm going to give you the exact protocol, the step-by-step system that takes these principles and turns them into daily practice that transforms your reality. You do not need to do all 4 at once. In fact, I do not recommend it. That would be overwhelming, and you would give up. Choose one. Master it, then add the next. But do not skip any of them. Each one builds on the last. Each one is essential. Step 1. The decree, the creative declaration. You are going to take a blank piece of paper or open a new document, and you are going to write one sentence. One clear, specific, measurable decree about what you are creating financially in the next 90 days. Not a wish, not a goal, a decree. A statement of what is being brought into existence. Here is the exact structure of your decree. I am a powerful channel for specific annual income. which I earn by the value you provide and use for your deeper purpose. For example, I am a powerful channel for $300,000 of annual income, which I earn by providing the best consulting services and use to create total financial freedom for my family and support my community. Or, I am a powerful channel for $500,000 of annual income, which I earn by building tools that solve real problems and use to establish generational wealth and fund causes I believe in. Do you see how specific that is? Do you see how there is no room for interpretation? That is the point. Chaos lives in vagueness. Order lives in precision. Your decree must be so clear that 90 days from now you can look at it and know immediately whether you are on track or not. No gray area, no excuses. And here is what will happen when you write it. Fear will rise up. You will think, what if I do? Not hit that number? What if I fail publicly? What if I wrote it down and nothing changes? And that fear is the exact reason most people never write the decree. They would rather stay in chaos, where failure is invisible, than step into order, where failure can be measured. But failure in chaos is guaranteed. Failure in order is temporary. Because in order, you can see what went wrong and correct it. In chaos, you just keep repeating the same mistakes forever. So write the decree, make it specific. Make it measurable. Make it undeniable. And put it somewhere you will see it every single day, not hidden in a journal, not saved in a file you never open, visible, confronting, unavoidable. Step 2. The separation, the chaos audit. This is where most people discover the truth about their financial chaos, and the truth is uncomfortable. But discomfort is the price of transformation. You are going to take the next 7 days and track every single use of your time and money, every hour, every dollar. And you are going to ask one question about each one. Does this bring order to my life, or does it bring disorder? Not good or bad, not right or wrong. Order or disorder. Order means it moves you toward your decree. Order means it operates predictably. Order means it gives more than it takes. Disorder means it pulls you away from your decree. Disorder means it operates chaotically. Disorder means it drains more than it provides. For your time, write down every activity: working on client, project, scrolling social media, attending meeting, watching videos, having conversation, exercise, sleep, all of it. Then mark each one, order or disorder. For your money, write down every transaction: coffee, software subscription, groceries, client payment received, bill paid, all of it. Then mark each one, order or disorder. At the end of 7 days, you will have a map, a clear, undeniable map of where your chaos is coming from. And here is what you are going to discover. Most of your disorder comes from 3 or 4 specific sources. Not 20, not 100, 3 or 4. Maybe it is a client who pays well but creates constant emergencies. Maybe it is a subscription service you never use but keep paying for. Maybe it is social media consuming 2 hours every day. Maybe it is meetings that accomplish nothing. Maybe it is a business partnership that sounds good but produces no results. Whatever it is, you will see it. And once you see it, you have to make a decision. Separate from it, or stay in chaos. There is no middle ground. And yes, separation will cost you something. It might cost you money in the short term. It might cost you a relationship. It might cost you comfort. But staying in chaos will cost you everything in the long term. Your time, your sanity, your potential, your future. The question is not whether separation has a cost. The question is which cost you are willing to pay. Step 3. The naming, the mandate of dominion. You have bank accounts. You have budget categories. You have income streams. Right now they probably have generic names: checking, savings, business, personal, revenue. These names have no power. They create no meaning. They inspire no discipline. You are going to rename them. And you are going to rename them with essence, with purpose, with identity. Your main account is not checking. It is the fortress of provision, or the reservoir of security, or the engine of impact. Whatever name resonates with what that money is actually for. Your savings is not just savings. It is the sanctuary of future peace, or the wall against chaos, or the seed vault for new creation. Your business revenue is not just income. It is the harvest of aligned work, or the stream of purposeful exchange, or the evidence of divine favor. Do you see what happens when you do this? Every time you interact with that money, you are reminded of its purpose. You are confronted with its meaning. You cannot carelessly spend from the fortress of provision. You cannot waste resources from the stream of purposeful exchange. The name holds you accountable. And yes, this will feel strange at first. You will log into your bank and see these names, and part of you will feel embarrassed. You will think, this is silly, this is childish, this does not matter. But that is the voice of chaos speaking. That is the part of you that wants to stay in disorder, because disorder requires nothing from you. Ignore that voice. Rename everything. And watch how your behavior changes when your money has identity. Step 4, the blessing, the daily infusion. Every morning, before you check your phone, before you look at your email, before you do anything else, you are going to speak a blessing over your financial life. Out loud. Not in your head. Out loud. Because spoken words create reality in a way that thoughts do not. The blessing can be simple. Creator of all provision, I acknowledge that everything I have is a gift and a responsibility. Today I will steward what I have been given with wisdom, clarity, and purpose. I will not hoard in fear. I will not waste in chaos. I will use everything with intention. That is it. 30 seconds. But those 30 seconds recalibrate your entire relationship with money for the day. You are no longer approaching your finances from fear or desperation. You are approaching them from gratitude and authority. And then, every time you receive money throughout the day, pause for 2 seconds and say, I receive this with gratitude. I will use this with intention, every payment, every sale, every refund, every unexpected gift. Acknowledge it. Bless it. Commit to stewarding it well. Now everything I have taught you here is the foundation. The 4 steps of creation. Decree, separation, naming, blessing. These are the same movements that brought the universe into existence. And these are the same movements that will bring order to your financial life. But this requires action. It requires discipline. It requires you to overcome the voice that says this will not work. So here is my challenge for you. Do not try to master all 4 steps at once. That would be overwhelming and you would give up. Choose one. Just one of the 4 steps. Begin with it today, master it over the next 7 days, and then come back here and tell me in the comments what happened. Because 5 years from now, you will either be living in the prosperity that comes from divine order, or you will still be trapped in the same chaos you are in today. And the difference between those 2 futures is the decision you make in the next 24 hours. The universe was created in 6 days. Your financial transformation can begin in 1. If this video helped you, leave your like. If you want more content about the biblical principles of prosperity, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Shalom, my friend.